Hi, I'm Christian Guzman, and I approve of the Board Shorts and Banter podcast.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to the Board Shorts and Banter podcast. Today, we've got another WNBF pro. We've got another men's physique legend that is fresh out of prep, Mr. David Langsdale. David, how are you, mate?
I'm very good, mate. Like you say, fresh out of prep. So I'm feeling good at this point. I actually love the post-prep phase when you can have a little bit more life again, a little bit more normality. So yeah, I'm good.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, mate, you've had a ridiculous year. I feel like I've been not glued to your content, but I've definitely followed your prep closer than what I have most people's. Purely because it's been mental. Like I've not seen anybody this year do a prep like yours.
Yeah, which is part of the reason why I wanted to do it. Like I said, I wanted to do something a bit out there, a bit crazy, and push the limits and find out where the limits are. And I definitely found out where they are.
I am really, really glad that you found it. Friggin' hell! If you were going to say, I went to try and find my limits and I couldn't find them, then you're not human, mate. Cause
and I think
what was it? 5 shows in 5 weeks or 4 in 4?
So I did 7 shows in total, and 4 of them were in 4 weeks in 4 different countries as well. And 6 of the shows were, I did 6 different countries.
Fucking hell. So not only was it a mental year, I'm assuming it was a pretty expensive year as well.
I don't want to add up the costs.
Yeah. Maybe
like
don't.
Statement says amount spent this month. I'm just like quickly flicking through. Like I don't want to add up what the months add up to.
Oh, mate. But like you do it for the love of the game.
Exactly.
Like what would you end up spending the money on anyway? Like
Exactly.
nothing really.
Nah,
Food.
it'll get wasted
Not even.
elsewhere. I've been living.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't regret
Beautiful.
it one bit.
No, good. That is one of the questions that I wanted to ask you. But we'll talk about all that later on down the line. Right. So we'll go over your entire prep. Do you know how long it was?
27 weeks.
27
total.
weeks of dieting. How much weight did you lose over 27 weeks?
10 kilos. So not a crazy amount, but as you know, I've never really I didn't get too heavy in my off season, with it not being too long off the back of the other prep. And I think anything above, you put that in terms of percentage, it's well above 10% of my body weight back on again.
Yeah, fair. 27 weeks, 10 kilos. It's quite straightforward, isn't it? It's just like the difficulty would have been more managing the prep rather than getting into stage condition.
Yeah, definitely.
I was just adding it up in my head as well. You did 7 shows, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 6 were WNBF shows.
That's it. 6 WNBF pro shows,
I think
2
one
pros.
thing worth mentioning as well when we talk about amount of weight lost, and I say this to people all the time, no matter, because you might see someone and go, oh, you only had to lose 10 kilos. It's not a lot. I had to lose 20 kilos. Once you're in the depths of a prep and you're shredded, you do not feel good. So it don't matter if you've had to lose 10 kilos or 20 kilos, your prep's going to be hard when you get into the depths of it and you dig in for that stage condition.
Yeah. And I'll always look at the duration that someone's competing for. And correct me if I'm wrong, but your first show was like the back end of August, weren't it?
Yeah, end of August. So it's like 3 months between.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So that's literally twice as long as what I would ever want to do.
Yeah. And I always said I wouldn't be at 100% at the beginning of the prep because I wanted to obviously hormonally not be in the gutter for so long.
Yeah.
But then I found, like we've spoke about before, how hard it was to actually get them finer details in off the back of peaking for shows and stuff.
Sorry, mate, just froze for a sec. Yeah, no, defo. So shows wise, you did Dubai first.
After Two Bros, yeah. So I did the Two Bros natural show, but WNBF wise did Dubai, then it was France, then the UK, Spain. That was the 4 in 4 weeks. Then I had the 3-week gap until Germany, and then 3 weeks between Germany and the Worlds.
Beautiful. And do you know roughly What was your weight for the Dubai show, and what was your weight for the last of that 4-show
Yeah, so
stint?
obviously the only thing you can really go off is your lowest body weight, which I always think is hard to judge because obviously you're fully depleted and everything compared to carb up weight. The lowest I got to before Dubai show was just above 70 kilos. Before the Worlds, I got just below 68 kilos.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. That would have been fun. That managing that
Oh,
little drop.
yeah. To be
Fucking
honest, though,
hell.
like we say, I had 4 weeks there as well where I was trying to get back to stage condition after a show as well.
Yeah. So, right, okay then. First lot of shows, how did you find going, doing back-to-back peak weeks like you did?
It was actually a lot different to what I expected. So I expected the hardest one to be Dubai to France, but the hardest one was actually the UK show after it because of how late at night we went on stage.
Oh,
And
of
then I only had
course.
and I actually got cramp with how late we went on and the peaking and everything. I actually got a bit of cramp. I actually came to you for electrolytes after the show because you said you had some. And
Fucking
that
hell.
cramp actually made it tough to walk for a couple of days. So my legs were in so much pain from them cramping up. But then I
Really?
was trying to do countless amount of steps, like limping. And then when I started carving up for that show, yeah, it was tough. But yeah, the first show wasn't too bad, obviously, because it was the first show with Dubai. But then I only had 6 days until France. So I didn't fully manage to deplete back down, which I knew I wouldn't be able to. But then I didn't do as big a carb load because I always set Dubai and then 2 weeks later the UK show as my priority. So France, I wasn't 100% because of those two shows. I was happy to do that.
Yeah. We obviously discussed in Boston how hard you had to push for, to get back down to that baseline. Do you want to tell the people how hard you did push for?
Yeah, so it started after the France show. So the France show, the feedback I got wasn't very good after that show, basically saying you look much better in Dubai last week. This is the problem with doing back-to-back shows. You can't get better in a week. Well, I'm stubborn as anything. So I was like, right, I'm going to show them I can get better in a week. So from France to the UK show, I had 8 days. So that was a lot off the back of 6 days from Dubai to France. I was like, right, 8 days.
With not as much travel as well. So
Exactly. I'm going to be back home. I'm going to be able to do everything I do at home, prep my food and everything, which obviously is an easier prep for a show when you're at home. So off the back of that France show, I was doing an hour on the stairs every morning, 20,000 steps, and food was real low. So then I managed to get, and I think you obviously saw the UK show. I was actually much improved for that show, and I was very happy with how I looked for that show. But then it kind of, like I say, was tough after that show. And then it was right, it kind of set my body to a point where I had to keep doing that all over again to get my body back down again
yeah.
and bring obviously more condition as well, because the plan was to peak condition wise later in the year at Germany and then hold it for Worlds. So it was my condition was good and stage worthy, but I know that I can get that next level of condition.
Yeah.
But by that point, I'm having to dig real deep and I'm comparing to previous preps thinking, I've never had to eat this little before. I've never had to do this much before. And I've been to bring that level of condition.
Mad, mate. What I've over my time of competing, I've done some pretty daft things. But one of the daft things that I did that kind of paid off was doing weighted steps. So obviously, as you diet, you get lighter. The demand that you put on your body just by doing steps isn't enough,
Yeah.
or it's not enough to get the fat loss that you want. So doing weighted steps helped me for a period of time. Don't get me wrong, it didn't help for long because it ended up hurting my back.
Yeah.
But there was a short period of time where it was worthwhile, and I did want to message you saying, "Oh, have you thought about doing it?"
To
So
be honest, David Langsdale from France, he did
yeah,
multiple shows, and I do believe that's what he was doing as well. Obviously, I was increasing my amount on the stairs, and those stairs become hell when you're fully tired,
yeah.
body's depleted, and you've got to keep getting on them.
Honestly, mate, I've no idea how you did it. Like I've done, like I said, I've done some pretty messed up stuff whilst dieting, but none to that extent. 20,000 steps a day for multiple days is mental. I've only
Yeah.
ever done that really when I've been like, like walking around a city or
Well,
something.
this is the thing, actually. If I'm honest with you, obviously went to New York after the show. I did 40,000 steps a day, and I was like, "What? Prep was easy. I could have done more." No, I'm joking. But yeah,
This is why Ryan Terry goes to the States.
exactly. Yeah,
40,000 steps a day, bro. Fucking hell.
yeah. But it's different when you're eating food, and obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's it, isn't it? Like,
you
just
literally
mental.
can't sit down all day.
No, no. Like, how were
And
you
all
managing to fit it all in?
So at work, I was just walking around. Obviously, training, I'd just walk around between sets. I'd then go for a long walk at night if I had X amount left to do. I've got a walking pad at home, so anything at home I'd do on the walking pad pretty much. And to be honest with you, all I wanted to do was sit down.
I bet. I bet. Like, how are your knees feeling?
Knees were okay, but my feet were hurting and stuff. And
Oh,
obviously,
were
like
they?
you say, your back starts to hurt. When you're lean, your spine does not feel
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So, like, when I would do my weighted steps, I weren't 100% sure whether it was the weight that was causing my back to hurt or just being shredded.
Yeah, it doesn't help when there's no fat in them joints and stuff, and especially putting a weight on, I guess.
No, mate, not fun at all. So within that like little stint then between Dubai and Spain, did you see an improvement in your physique, like in terms of condition?
I thought I
Um,
would, but if I compared Dubai to Spain, I looked better in Dubai.
really?
But I think that was a result, like I say, of what happened with the cramp after the UK show, struggling to
Yeah,
bring my weight back down from that carb up because of it. So it was the challenges I faced that actually set me back. It was too much, and that was the fourth show in 4 weeks. And I was like, I literally was going into that show thinking if I can just look presentable, I'll be quite happy because I was literally struggling. I was like thinking I just want to get this fourth show done and then have 3 weeks between this show and the next.
bless you, bless you. Fucked, honestly. So right, was Dubai the best look then out of
I'd say
the
the
first
UK.
stint?
The UK show
Okay,
was the best I looked out of them four shows because Dubai would have been the best, but I was a little bit flat. I thought I could have been fuller. Um, and
Did you pull back on your carb load based off of the fact that you had a show the following
no, my
weekend?
carb load was quite decent, but I mean, we've spoke about this before, and a big thing I feel like for natties is definitely staying hydrated for a show because if you start pulling too much water, you
Yeah.
can flatten out a bit. And yeah, it was basically a case of just not enough water going in for the hydration with the difference out there and stuff like that. So I, I'm the same as you. I track everything I do. So the one thing that I could see was different was probably the amount of water. So I just needed to correct that, which obviously I did going into the future shows.
Yeah. Good. Good stuff. God, I'm trying to think what other people we've spoke that much throughout your prep. I obviously know everything that's happened. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think on behalf of the listeners, what would they want to know? Overall throughout the season, which was the best look for you?
For me, probably the UK show.
Right.
But
So
but again, it's a matter of opinion, and all I'm going by with that opinion is pictures and stuff that I've seen of myself, and it's hard to analyze that yourself. Whereas other people, like a lot of people, actually said at the Germany show it was the best I've ever looked. But I think by that point, I'd become ultra critical of myself because that's another thing that comes when you're doing multiple shows. you become more and more like nitpicking at yourself, especially when you're not winning or getting the result you want. You're just picking yourself apart, and you actually get sick of doing it. So by the time Germany come, I mean, fullness was like nailed for that. And that had
Yeah.
come off the back of feedback from Max, the German judge who'd done the UK show, who had said, oh, yeah, because he put me in the first call out, as you know, like pretty much in the middle. I went for feedback. He said, oh, you just faded a little bit, which isn't really your fault because it was late at night. So I was like, in the Germany show where I knew he was going to be head judge, I was like, I'm coming in full as anything. So the fullness was bang on. But then I thought I could have been a little bit sharper. But again, am I just nitpicking at myself at that point? Because other people had told me that was the best I've ever looked.
Yeah.
So
I think I watched the German show on the live stream, and even from the live stream, I thought that was your best look.
yeah, okay.
Like, you didn't look over dieted. Yes, you look full as a house. You might not have been as sharp as what you were at the British, but the overall like balance of fullness and conditioning was, in my opinion, better.
Yeah.
But I think that came as well from you just being a little bit fresher from having longer between shows.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
And I think that's the thing on reflection, like as much as I'd done, and obviously as much as I wanted to do, and again, I don't know if it's me nitpicking at myself and being ultra critical, but it almost became so hard to nail 100% because it was one factor or another. Because then by the end at the Worlds, which was my plan to be at 100% then, my body was so tired. Like
yeah,
on
yeah.
reflection now, I can say it. When you're in the depths of a prep, you're never admitting it to yourself.
Oh,
But
mate, like even when you're a few days out and you'll subconsciously know that this isn't your best,
yeah,
you'll never admit it to
no.
yourself.
We're too proud and we're like, no, I just need to work a bit harder. I've got this. This is going to be my best yet. But on reflection now, I'm like, my body was tired. Like it was
Yeah.
struggling.
That's what I took away from the Worlds for you. I just
Yeah.
looked at it, I thought that, there's nothing wrong with your conditioning. You probably looked a little bit more flatter because you might have lost a little bit more tissue from working so hard.
Yeah.
Like you'd lost that pop that you had earlier on.
Yeah. And
But that this is all part of the learning of bodybuilding. You'll
exactly. And I
you'll only
think,
take the data away and apply it to yourself going forwards.
yeah. And I think overall, like I'm proud of what I did in terms of you look at how I was by the end, even though we're like picking it apart, to say I managed to look that good after everything I'd done. And we talk about like muscle retention naturally and stuff. I've been in the depths of prep, been on prep 27 weeks, in deep for 3 months, and not really lost that much. And that
Yeah,
goes to show, as long as you're working hard, it is so hard to lose muscle, even naturally, as long as you're ticking all the boxes.
yeah, and tick all the boxes you have done, my friend. Um, it's obviously been a really, really tough prep. But what would you say was the toughest bit of it all? Was it the fact that, managing it all, doing shitloads, or was it the fact that you were doing loads and then not getting the reward of working harder? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? What was the hardest bit
If
for
you'd
you?
have told me like before the prep, again with the results and stuff, I'd have thought it'd been harder to deal with like not winning and stuff. Because obviously, like over the years we've both like won a lot of shows. It's a nice feeling, but I actually just like kind of disconnected from the results of it because I knew that what I was trying to do was challenge myself, and I kept just looking at ways I could get better.
Yeah,
I think, like you say, the hardest thing is probably just knowing you've got a show booked, paid for in another country the next week, like you're committed and there's no going back, and you've just come off stage and you're like, I've got to go again now straight away.
yeah. But mate, there's so many learnings from that. Like your mental resilience, like from what I've seen, I've known you a while now. This is the most mentally resilient that I've ever seen you be.
Yeah.
Like your head's, and I'm sure it has privately when you're on your own, but your head hasn't appeared to have dropped at all throughout your prep, and that's massive. That's
Yeah. And I
something to be
think,
like seriously proud of.
yeah, and that's what I take away from this year. It's almost like physically, it's the hardest prep I've ever done, but mentally, it's probably been the best. As in, I've challenged myself from a physical standpoint more than ever. I've actually been happy within myself, whereas previous preps might not have been as happy just in life in general, or just like the challenge of the prep wasn't bringing the best out of me. Whereas this year, I feel like I really nailed that, like just feeling positive day to day and just loving what I'm doing and being able to just train and just feel lucky to be doing it all, to be honest, like traveling country to country.
Yeah. It is so sick. To be able to do it naturally as well, and you've
Yeah,
not put like your health dramatically at risk.
yeah,
It's class.
yeah.
It's class. How long ago was it since we last had you on the podcast? Was it part of our
We
four-way with
Yeah, we did the UK show. So what was that? Mid-October, I think.
about 6, 7 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it feels
Um
forever ago now with all the shows and everything that's happened since.
in it, mate. That feels like it was a different year.
Yeah.
It's mental since then. I don't know if we spoke about it then or the previous time that you came on, just like you, me, and Tom. But I do believe we spoke about you potentially hanging up the board shorts this year.
Yeah, so I'd never really told many people this, but I don't mind
Shit.
admitting it.
Oh, fuck.
But I don't mind admitting it now. Um, so that's another thing that's come from this year. So I basically went into this year thinking I've achieved everything and more in men's physique than I'd ever wanted. The only thing left really is to win a pro world title. If I'm not winning it in the next couple of years, it's not probably going to happen, like whether it's a genetic factor or whatever. As we said, like I'm willing to put everything into this. I don't believe people work harder than me and that's why they're better. They might just have a better genetic structure or something. So I was like, right, if I'm not really winning it this year or getting close to it, I'm done because I've got nothing left to achieve. And
Yeah.
so I basically told myself that's why I'm going to do all these shows. Because if I'm not going to compete again and do a prep again, I want to get the most out of this in terms of experiences, put myself on every stage, almost like a last like victory lap kind of thing, and just get on every stage and then say, right, that's it, I'm done. And I thought that by doing all these shows, I'd be exhausted with it and be like, I'm sick of getting on stage. I'm sick of getting tanned at shows. I'm sick of like doing it all, the actual show day. But then I actually got the opposite. So it was actually in Spain that it hit me. You meet other competitors from other countries and stuff, and it's like I was just stood there and I was like, you know what? Like, even though I'm not winning and stuff, what I'm doing day to day, like I say, is making me happier and happier, mentally the best
Yeah.
I've ever been. I'm getting people messaging me about how I'm inspiring them and helping them. People at shows are saying that to me. And I was just like, I love this so much. Why am I giving it up when I've still got more in me? Like
Yeah.
I've shown to myself this year, I've got more in me. So yeah, that decision changed and I decided, no, this isn't going to be my last year. And that was pretty much after Spain.
Yeah. No, I could have told you this when you first said to me, this is my last year, or I
You
might not be doing it again.
on Honestly, I'd spoke to people like privately who were close to me, and they were like looking at me laughing. It was like, "Nah, no chance. You're not giving this up." And I felt offended. I was like, "What? No, I am. And that's it. I'm done." They're like, "No, you're not." Like laughing at me. Okay, they were right.
Yeah, mate. You're just one of them people. Like what you're saying is bang on. You get your buzz from being in that environment, and you love competing. You love being competitive.
Yeah,
Like it makes no sense in my eyes for you to jack it in just yet.
yeah,
And like, yeah, you're right. You have probably you've reached a height that people could only dream of. You've done
yeah,
things that people could only dream of,
yeah,
but there's something that's different about just being competitive and being like David Langsdale in that environment.
yeah. And I think that, like I said originally, I was thinking, oh, I've only got the pro world title left to achieve, and it's like, but I'm gaining so much more out of this than just winning a show. So
Yeah,
while I'm enjoying it and it's making my life better, I'm going to keep doing it.
yeah. And it's not only making your life better, mate. You will be having a massive impact on like the next group of men's physique competitors coming through.
Yeah,
And like when I won the Worlds last year, it was like, oh my God, I've made it. Yeah, nice one. That's sick. But it's like, no, this, you just realize once you're at the top, whether you achieve what you want to achieve when you're at the top, you realize that it's not the being at the top and like winning things that's going to make you happy. It's the
Yeah.
impact that you're going to have on people and the world whilst you're doing the thing that you love.
Yeah,
Like, I
and
can't tell you how many people's turned around to me over the years and said, "Oh, I'm staying natural because of what you've done competing wise," and it will be the exact same for you. So yeah, your worth is so much more than just competing. But obviously, you
yeah,
love competing. Don't fucking stop.
yeah, exactly, mate. So the plans are already set, but like we've spoke about before, I do need a break and I do need a good off season because I want to get bigger, I want to grow, so I need time to do that. So I won't be competing next year, and
But
I'm
you will be the
definitely
year
not
after.
changing my mind on that one.
No. Yeah, mate, if you compete next year, I'm going to go to whatever gym you're training out of and I will take all the treadmills out, all the Stairmasters out of the
I'll
gyms.
get one at home, mate. I'll find a way.
You won't. You won't. I won't let it happen.
No, I'm not competing next year. I'm actually going to be following you.
Good.
And
Good.
I actually saw they'd raised the prize money in Dubai, so I was going to send it you. Like, Josh, here you go. Here's a show for you.
Oh, mate. Have they announced the Dubai show yet?
It just says September, but it says the prize pulls up to like 30 grand or something.
And what was it this year? 20?
I can't remember. I know the
Oh,
winner got like
friggin' hell.
5 grand, wasn't it? So
So I messaged Mr. Charles Barkley and asked him what date it was, and he's told me what date it is.
end of September again.
Yeah, but it may clash with other shows.
Because UK's September as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's
UK
going to be the week
September.
before.
Yeah. It's just going to be tough. It's just going to be tough. I don't know honestly right now. I don't know what shows I'm going to end up doing.
UK Pro Show?
Yeah, fairly certain that that'll be one. But then it's like, what else after that? Like, like you've said, to do back-to-back peak weeks is so bloody tough. I
Yeah.
am fully aware of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you was to do UK, then Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And I'm
honestly
probably
think, because I've thought about it a lot, and this is something people might want to listen to, is like, what is actually possible? So I think it would be possible for you to do like UK, then Dubai, but then you've got to be pretty much done. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, you've not got much left after that. If you've peaked back to back weeks, you're close to being done. Or I think if you did a show like September and then had a bit of like eating in a surplus for a few weeks and then come back down, you could maybe do a couple of months apart.
So that's part of the plan. To have like a bit of a diet break in the middle, which is what I did for Martin this year. So he
Yeah.
did his like September, and in fact, no, I think it were all September and the UK show.
Yeah.
He did his shows then, and then he had a diet break for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. And what about Charlie? Because I think what Charlie did, so I said I've like tested the limits and I've found out what they are and what's not possible, because I wasn't able to nail 100% off the back of what I did. Whereas I'd say what Charlie did is probably the max. What did he do? Like 4 shows with 2 or 3 weeks in between each.
Yeah,
I think that's
pretty much.
pushing the max and probably hitting it, because he, looked great at every show. I'd say that is probably the limit. Would you
We
agree
didn't
on
do
that?
it. Yeah, definitely. We didn't do any back-to-back peak weeks. Do you know as well, one big factor, right? When you've got a decent amount of muscle, it's quite hard to fill up anyway.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do. If you don't know what filling up is, you are trying to put as much glycogen into your muscles as possible to make them look full,
Yeah.
right? Once you've reached that peak fullness, you end up looking slightly softer because you end up spilling into your skin.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I actually obviously ate a lot of food in New York, and I took a picture the Saturday after I got back, And it was a classic case of that. I look better after eating all that food.
Of course
And
you did.
and my carb up wasn't small.
Yeah.
So it is. You've got to push a lot of food if you've hammered your body that much.
Yeah. So I think what my point is with that is if you're filling up so much, it is going to take more than just a couple of days to flatten off.
Yeah.
Like even if you went zero carb, 20,000 steps, however many hours on the Stairmaster,
Yeah.
you're only gonna expel so many of them carb stores out of your body, and then also to get into that responsive state of filling back up as
Yeah.
well.
Well, it took your months to get there for your first show. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly. I'm just trying to load up. It's not working. Fuck them. Who's ringing me? Annabella's ringing me. She can wait. Sorry, Annabella, if you're listening, just rejected your call. Yeah, it is tough. If you had, I suppose you've already answered it. It's 2-3 weeks in between shows, isn't it? If you had like an ideal setup of, I'm going to do this much traveling, I'm going to do, this many shows, what would it be? What do you think your max in one season is?
So looking back on this year and using that as an example, I think the max would have been Dubai, 2 weeks later UK. Then it would have been 4 weeks till Germany, 3
Yeah,
weeks till to Worlds.
that's
That
perfect in
would have
my
been
eyes.
perfect. But going week after week after week, yeah, and your body's just up and down, like, and
Yeah.
it was definitely a massive challenge.
If you were a first timer going
Yeah,
into your first competitive season, what would you recommend for show frequency and overall amount of shows?
first timer.
Yeah.
I think
Novice competitor.
3 shows has got to be the max.
I think 3 shows is like pretty much the sweet spot.
Yeah,
I always think it's a shame when you see someone diet for so long to only step on stage once. Like for
yeah,
starters, it's a 15-minute process, half an hour at the max, like, and then that's it. You're done.
yeah.
But then also you're that nervous leading up to your first show. You may as well. Well, you're not going to really remember it. You're not going to fully experience it or enjoy it. You're better off doing it a couple more times, or at least one more time after that, to actually say that you've truly competed.
Yeah, so last year I only did 2 shows and it felt a little bit underwhelming, whereas the years previous to that, the 2 years, 21 and 22, I did 3 shows and that felt perfect, like you said. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I'd agree.
yeah. I'm glad that we're on agreement.
Yeah.
What are your competitive plans going forwards?
So,
So
like,
obviously, I feel like the WNBF is almost ticked off for you. There's not actually many shows left in the world for you to go to.
yeah.
What is there anything else out there that you think? Oh, I want to throw my hat in the ring on that one.
So, I've obviously thought about it a bit ever since I decided in Spain one sunny afternoon that I wasn't done what the plan was. So, um, I was thinking, obviously, I'm taking next year off, 18-month off season, and then start prep. And again, it will be a case of doing something that I've never done before, because that's obviously what excites me. That was why I did what I did this year, doing something crazy and just challenging myself in a different way. So I've actually done 8 WNBF pro shows now. So I want to take that to 10. I don't think I'd do the Worlds again, but I do want to compete in Canada.
Oh yeah,
And I'd like to do a show in America that isn't the Worlds. Basically,
interesting.
because then you've got a bit more choice of location, but also because the dates might align better where it's not so far apart.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping come 2026, there's maybe a 2-week gap between a show in America and the Canada show.
yeah,
And I'd maybe do those 2. But it's dependent on location, because if the Worlds is in an incredible place that I really want to go to, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
But then something else crazy crossed my mind. And it was like, now that I've admitted my age to the world, it's like come 20...
David's 18.
Yeah.
He's still a teen.
So come 2026, I'll be 39.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I compete that year, I'm close to the Masters. And now there's a Pro Masters category. Could I be tempted by a Pro World title aim in that?
Is there a Pro Masters men's physique?
Yeah, so Jason did it
Oh yeah.
and
It
came
was
third.
like at the start of the day, weren't it?
Yeah.
Oh mate, you got to do it.
But again, it all depends. Because again, I'm getting visions in my head and I plan ahead. And obviously, I want to build my coaching. And it's like, okay, could I go out there with a team of clients like you did yourself this year, or, you know, and also put myself on stage in that as a last show? I don't know. But it is getting close to deciding when I'm going to retire.
You're going to be doing ultra grandmasters. 65 years old, stepping on stage in his board shorts and his Zimmer frame. Knees are
I love it. I
absolutely
just love it
shagged.
so much. I keep
I
coming
love it.
back.
I've been here 22 times now. I
And
fucking love
that
it.
judge, he still don't like me.
I nearly said their name. Oh, God. You fucking bastard, you. Oh, yeah, that mate. Class. You know, in other federations, you are classed as a master.
Yeah. That's the other thing I have looked at a little bit because like I said, I did the Two Bros Natural show. I've done a few Two Bros shows in the past. Obviously, there's the IFBB Natural thing coming about. And that, yeah, it fills you with motivation. Like I say, to keep training and keep growing, that there's opportunities that are evolving. And like I say, it's something new.
Yeah.
I'll be tempted by that. We'll see. But for now, like I say, I do love the WNBF and what they're doing. So
I agree. Everyone's seen it. Everyone's heard about it. The NPC, IFBB, whatever you want to call it, they announced the other day that there's going to be a different route for the natural NPC competitors to take. So,
yeah,
do you know what it is? Like, do you want to
yeah. So
explain it?
they're doing more pro shows, basically, aren't they? And then
Yeah.
the pro show. So the Ben Weeder at the moment is their basically standout pro show for natural IFBB pro card holders. Now you're having to qualify for that. But as a result of it being you have to qualify, they're going to be putting a lot more pro shows on as qualifiers for that. So instead of having just one standalone show, they're going to have multiple shows, and then you qualify for that. And then if you win that, that's when you'd qualify for the Olympia. That's what it sounded like to me.
Do you think? I understand why they're doing it. Like, you know, putting almost like an extra hurdle for naturals to jump over to get to the Olympia. But do you think that all that it ends up doing, this might just be my opinion, all that it ends up doing is creating a bigger gap between enhanced bodybuilders and natural bodybuilders?
In what sense does it create a bigger gap, though? Because I don't know if that gap can get bigger.
So rather than having like 4 naturals on an Olympia stage, there will literally be 1.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So rather than having like multiple qualifiers throughout the year that all lead to the Olympia, they've got multiple qualifiers that lead to the Ben Weeder, and then you've got to win that to get to the Olympia.
Yeah.
It's almost like as a natural, you have actually got to work harder. So not only do the enhanced boys have the added, you know, juice to get them, you know, more competitive, we're then going to reduce the amount of shows that you have or can do
Yeah.
to qualify for the Olympia. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like they're punishing you for being natural a little bit.
You natty bastard.
You have to do a qualifier to a qualifier and then get there.
So you need to get an IFBB Pro card, which is going to be hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
Then you've got to win a Pro show, which is also, you know, pretty damn difficult.
Going to be hard.
And then you've got to go to a natural show, and the Ben Weeder, to be able to maybe qualify for the Olympia. Like, I don't think that there's been a great amount of thought gone into it.
Not when there's not a lot of natural IFBB Pro card holders already. Like maybe in 10 years' time, where they've had a lot of people have won Pro cards, they could narrow it down a bit. But at the moment, I mean, how many natural IFBB men's physique pros do you know? Probably just a handful.
Yeah.
There's probably more UK WNBF pros we could think of. Yeah, we haven't got to do a show for a show to get to the Worlds, you know?
Yeah. Or it's not even like doing the show. You've got to win a
Win it,
show.
yeah.
Like with the WNBF, we have to enter a like national pro show to be able to go to the Worlds.
Yeah.
It's almost like a qualifier without really qualifying.
Yeah, I've
you know, you just got to
qualified
go
6
step on
times this
stage.
year.
Congratulations, David. Saying that you've got to win, because I thought as well, like, what if one person that was really, really, really good went and won every single show?
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Can they do that? Maybe they can. I don't know. Because if
Who
there's
knows?
prize money as well, you're going to do it, aren't you?
Oh, fuck yeah. Imagine the prize money, right?
Yeah.
They're going to fully stick 2 fingers up at the naturals. There's no way that they're giving $5,000
Like
to
$500.
the winners. It will. $500, a wolf pack backpack.
You guys don't need to buy no gear. You don't need the money.
Yeah. Oh, what you buying that? What are you going to spend that money on? Creatine, you fucking idiot. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So
It's going to be interesting to see it unfold and how it goes. What I did notice was, because they've obviously done the Ben Weeder before, but they only brought the polygraph in this year. I don't know if you thought the same as me, but people started to look a bit more natural than they had in the previous years.
That's what I thought. I saw it. I was like, this is definitely a natural show.
I thought, maybe I've got a chance. I could do it. Yeah. She's starting to look natural now.
There was guys that I did summer shredding with last year that went and did the Ben Weeder naturals that I know aren't natural because we spoke about it.
Yeah.
So it blew my mind that they even thought, oh, fuck it, I am natural. I'm going to go do that show. But the fact that they're now doing polygraphs, that is a big plus in my eyes.
Yeah.
And definitely. Yeah, I think for me, it is something that I would like to pursue one day.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, my loyalty is wholeheartedly with the WNBF. I think they do far more for natural bodybuilding than anything else, than any other federation.
And I do think it's worth pointing out that as much as we call it a natural show, you can't. To me, this Two Bros NPC IFBB show, I would more call it a drug tested show because they're 3 years drug free. That doesn't mean you're natural.
That's fuck all that, isn't
exactly.
it? It's like it's a further insult to what natural bodybuilding is.
But then, as a competitor, I do believe you've got a choice. If you don't like that it's only 3 years and you're lifetime natural as we are, then don't do it. But if you want to go do it, just be aware that there might be some other guys you're up against that aren't lifetime natural like you are, because it's only 3 years and that's the rules. Yeah. I'm not criticizing the rules. I just think you've got to be aware of what you're signing up to. If you want to be a true natty and compete against true naturals, then go for a bigger time frame, or like you say, go with the WNBF, and that's where our loyalties lie for that.
Yeah. But at the same time, I love putting my physique against people that I know damn straight are enhanced.
Yeah.
And getting a good gauge of.
It's a good test. And when you're in your off season and you're doing 18 months and you want to get bigger and bigger, if you're going to test yourself at that level, then you can't hold back on how much weight you're going to put on and how much muscle you're going to put on. You've got to keep going. So it does set a good challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. So like one of the date clashes for me next year, it's not really a date clash. It's more like a frequency issue for me, is that I'd want to do the WNBF. I'd want to do Dubai, WNBF UK. I'd want to do Dubai, and then I'd want to do the PCA Naturals. They would be on consecutive weeks, right?
Yeah.
So there was part of me, I was like, oh, God damn, that's a shame. But then at the same time, my enjoyment with competing with the PCA is going against enhanced guys. So I think
not even the PCA Naturals, you'd just do the Open, like British finals.
Yeah, pretty much. I've also got like that love for. I did PCA Yorkshire last year because I am the most proud Yorkshireman ever. I'd be more than happy to do that again,
I
rather than
feel like there's a
going.
British title there for you to tick off.
Yeah, something like that. The PCA was the first. No, my first show that I ever did was a NABBA one, and I was against some absolute monsters and won. And then a few weeks later, my mates convinced me to go and do PCA Midlands, and the standard of athlete there was ridiculous. Like, oh, it were mental. There were so many people in my class, and like in my class, I think 7 of them have gone on to win their IFBB Pro cards.
Yeah,
It was
crazy.
that mental. So I do feel that like my journey with the PCA isn't done. And I saw the natural shows. I thought, oh, that's amazing. That's got my name written all over it. But the fact that the dates aren't aligning tells me that maybe that's not the journey that I'm meant to
Yeah.
have with them.
Yeah, okay, that's good. It's like what I'm saying about what my goals are. It depends on dates and locations. You do have to look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah. Do you still have like a massive desire? Well, I mean, you've already said it that you want to go and compete in Canada and the US, but is there any part of you that wants to maybe compete more in the UK?
Um, Not really, to be honest. Just from a sense of what my goals would be when I come back and compete in 2026 is to do something new.
Yeah.
So if that's going to be the case, I've pretty much ticked off everything I want to do in the UK. And also, we said there's only so many shows you can do. Well, if that is going to be the case, I'm only doing 2, 3, 4 shows. Well, I want to go to Canada and I want to go to America. The only thing I probably would do in the UK is if I did like another show as a warm up, like the Two Bros again, and then
Warm
maybe
up.
looked at that kind of route.
Bloody warm up shows, David.
Yeah,
Oh,
a qualifier then to a pro card qualifier that I might aim
yeah.
for.
That sounds good. That sounds very nice. What are the short term plans and goals for you? Have you got anything in the pipeline that you are working towards?
Yeah, so next year will be fully dedicated to coaching. So I've already got a few guys that are competing next year, and I'll be looking to add to that as well in the coming months. But then also, as much as I did it this year with shows, it's going to be even better in off season to travel more because I do love to travel. So between me, you, and the listeners, I already have Vegas booked for January.
Yeah, he does.
And then I'll take it from there as to where I decide to go next. So if you are following me and you are like following my YouTube, there will be a lot of content to come, which might just be anywhere around the world at this point because I have the
Yeah.
freedom to do as I want.
Very interesting. You know, I'm not going to talk about it on the podcast, but I might, if we've got a spare 5 minutes
Yeah.
after, I'll tell you something that I've thought of. But yeah,
Okay.
no, I know next year you'll probably have more fun next year than what you did this. And I
Yeah.
know that'll be hard to, believe with
No,
all the traveling and shows that you've done.
yeah.
Being at a show, not competing,
It
and having friends compete and the community that you've built online there,
yeah.
it's
And
awesome.
also I think like when you're competing, it makes you realize how nice the little things in life are. Like, for example, being in an airport and going, oh, I fancy eating that. And just being able to go grab it while you wait for a plane or just have a like nice coffee or something with a bit of milk in and like whatever with it and a protein bar or whatever. But when you're traveling on prep, it's so strict, as you know. And
Yeah.
it's nice when you come flying back, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, when I go to Vegas in a month's time, I can do what I want, eat what I want, and it's
Yeah.
that freedom. It's like a
It's
weight off your
liberating.
shoulders. It does make it more enjoyable.
Yeah. Have you ever been to America without being on prep?
This is my 5th time going to Vegas, so yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
He's experienced.
yeah.
You didn't do Vegas the year that I competed,
No,
did
I
you? Oh,
couldn't,
no,
I
you didn't.
couldn't
Oh,
go that
fuck.
year. Yeah.
I always think back. That was such a good
And that
time.
killed me because, as you can tell from me going again, I love Vegas. So to compete there and try and get my pro card because I hadn't won a pro card at that point, it killed me that I couldn't go. But it was what it was.
I think I'd rather do what you're doing in January than go for a bodybuilding show, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah. I I think I've asked every question that I could possibly think of, mate.
Always a pleasure chatting, mate.
Yeah, thank you for making the time. For anyone wondering where Tom is, I basically did Tom over. I asked him last night if he was free this morning, and he said yes, and then I just didn't reply to him. So yeah, I then texted him a few hours ago, like, "Oh, you're free tonight?" And he was like, "No, what the fuck? God, Josh, you're so selfish." I was like, "Yeah, no." So yeah, that's why Tom's not here. We've not broke up. And Tom, if you're listening, I miss you. But yeah, that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you follow, subscribe, and show David Langsdale all the love in the world, because he is one of the best. You know, good person, good athlete. He's a good vibe. So yeah, David, do you want to tell the people where they can find you and
Yep.
what have
So
you?
my Instagram is my name, David Langsdale, with an underscore at the end, and then just type my name in on YouTube for all the YouTube videos as well.
I think you should have a rebrand and call yourself D Lang.
Really? I don't know if
Yeah,
I
I think that'd be cool. D Lang.
like that.
Yeah, and that's that. Thank you for listening, everyone. See you in the next one. Stay blessed and goodbye.